Hey everyone, welcome to D20 Woodworking. And today I want to talk a bit about my top 5 things I want to see in Marvel Champions, I think is what I'm going to call it. But it's basically my Marvel Champions wish list, right? The things that I hope to see the most. And instead of just putting out 5 things that are just random or whatever, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put them in order of the most likely to be seen in Marvel Champions and to the least likely, right? So the thing that I think we'll absolutely see all the way to a thing that I don't think we'll ever see, but I really would like to. So I think it's just like a fun little video to put together. But I don't want this just to be a one-sided video, right? I want you all to do me a favor. Scroll down a little bit, hit subscribe, hit like, but more importantly, leave a comment and let me know what your wish list is. It doesn't have to be 5 things. Maybe it just be 1 thing. Maybe it's 3 things. Maybe it's 10 things. I don't know. But leave as much as you want. Let me know what you want to see in Marvel Champions. But on top of that, not just what you want to see, but how likely do you think it is to actually show up in Marvel Champions? I think this is kind of the more interesting side of things. You know, we always talk about like the big dreams that we have, but let's be realistic, right? What do we think will actually make it into the game and what we think won't make it into the game? So I'm really interested to hear your thoughts. So please leave that down below. And let's dive right into this with the first one, which I think has the most likely chance of making it in, which is certain campaigns. In certain campaign boxes, I should say, which is Fantastic Four, Defenders, and more X-Men. Now, more X-Men is the one that throws this one maybe not 100% slam dunk guarantee, but Fantastic Four, Defenders, I think we'll absolutely see. I think it'd be silly if we didn't see both of those. I even think X-Men, I know I made a video somewhat recently, and I'll leave a card of it. I think it's this corner or this, I forgot which corner it is, but it'll be one of the corners. But the big card that does the X-Men review, and I talk about why there won't be more X-Men boxes right away, right? Like it probably won't happen right away. I'm going to guess. I'm not going to do 2 in a row. They'll probably do more later. But anyway, you can watch the video and I go into that more. But I think that's something, well, I know it's something I want to see, but I think most likely it's absolutely going to happen, right? I don't see a situation where that does not happen, but maybe, I don't know. It wouldn't be the weirdest thing to see, but those are the ones that stick out in my mind the most. That I think we'll absolutely see and that I want to see. So that's the first one and the most likely to happen. So number 2, and I think this is like 70-80% chance of happening, and that's seeing Deadpool. Now, the only reason I'm hesitant on this, and I know a lot of people are gonna be like, why wouldn't we see Deadpool? He's a huge moneymaker, whatever. There's 2 things about it. There's 2 things. One is that Deadpool is obviously an R-rated character, right? We're still playing in the comic book world. This is still a PG game pretty much overall. It's going to be hard to get Deadpool in there that way. Now, a lot of people have said, well, what they could do with him is break the 4th wall, which I do think is an interesting concept. And I think that would be kind of cool with Deadpool, but we're seeing that already with Spider-Ham. And even though the hero's not out yet as I'm recording this video, but we're seeing that already and people don't like it. They think it's goofy. They think it's silly. Now, I get it. It is kind of silly what they're making you do, but it's making you break the 4th wall. Instead of people saying, oh, that's cool, it's making me do something different, they're going, this is silly, this is stupid, I don't want this. And this is the only reason why I'm a little hesitant with Deadpool of what the designers will do. Now, most likely do I think they'll come out with it? Yeah, eventually I think they will. I think it's a moneymaker and they kind of have to. But it's one of those things that I wonder with the reception of Spider-Ham, and especially when Spider-Ham ever comes out and what people start saying. And I don't know if the sales are gonna be worse. I've seen a lot of anecdotal evidence that says people just are skipping that hero pack, right? They're not collecting them all like most people do. Now obviously the actual sales figures will tell us what it is, but I think it'll be kind of interesting what they decide to do or not to do with Deadpool, and if this makes them a little hesitant with the whole idea of breaking the 4th wall. So what do you do to make Deadpool super unique, right? You just give him some unique event cards or that he can heal or something. Like, I don't know. I don't know what they do with him now. Because not my big idea, but the big idea I read online was have him break the 4th wall, which made the most sense. Now, I know some people will probably defend and say, well, it's different because it's a cooler character, whatever. And I think that's a fair enough argument. I think you can make it, sure. But if people are just hesitant and have a sour taste in their mouth after the first hero pack that did that, I worry about the future. So do I think Deadpool will eventually happen? Yes, eventually. I think there's a pretty good shot. I don't think it's a slam dunk guarantee, though a lot of other people do. So anyway, that's my number 2 wish list item. Number 3, honestly, it's a 50-50 shot if this happens. Now, This is going to sound a little weird, but hear me out. I want them to stop putting encounter cards in the hero packs, right? These more modular sets. And I know a lot of people when they first started doing it, are like, oh, this is really cool. There's more ways to experience the game, whatever. There are more than 50 there are more than 50 modular packs out there right now, right? More than 50. That's a lot. And obviously, as we get more and more, scenario boxes, we're going to have even more on top of it. I don't need more of these, right? We recently did a video where I did a marbles run and we randomized all the encounter packs. You can go check out the video. I'll leave a link to it. But again, it was one of those things where I didn't realize there were so many of them until I put them all out there and I had them randomized and they went through and whatever. And I got to play them, sure. But I don't know. I feel like they're a little overdone now. Like I feel like at first when it was announced, people got really excited, including myself. It's like, okay, they're changing up the hero packs slightly to add these things. And now I have so many, I don't know if I need more, especially with the pace at which we will get them with each scenario box. I don't think it adds that much of a different dimension to the game. So I kind of don't need more. I don't want more. I'd rather them do something else that's more clever, something that's more interesting. I don't think this is it. I think this was their way of doing something different with the new hero packs, and I'm not the biggest fan of it. I'm not going to lie. So why do I have this at 50-50? Well, because this was recently introduced, so they're probably going to be doing this for a while. This is probably going to be the foreseeable future of what they do with encounter packs. Now, with that being said, they are probably going to realize at some point that they have to design all these things, right? And there's a ton of them out there and people might get sick of them. I do think it will stop eventually, but I think it could be way, way, way later on. But there's all, I mean, and the reason I have 50-50 because there is a slight chance that they just stick with this, right? They just like, no, this is our new thing. This is what we enjoy doing and we're going to keep doing it. So anyway, I'm really kind of done with the modular sets. I like them when they come out in the scenario packs, right? I think they're fine, but I haven't had enough time to explore all the ones that are out there in random fun ways without getting another pack, right? It's to me, it's too much. This is one of those things I want to know your opinion about down below. Are you tired of the modular sets, or do you just want them to keep giving you more of them, right? Keep giving you different ones and you're super into that. Let me know. I'm kind of curious about that because that's how I was at first. I was super into them and now I'm over them. So anyway, that was number 3. So with that being said, let's go into number 4. So I think there's, I don't know, a 20% chance, a 25% chance. I think they're silly not to do this, but I don't know if they'll do it. I really don't. And that is a Civil War scenario box. I think if we did a Civil War, it'd be fantastic. Now, I know a lot of people are like, well, this is a great idea. Why wouldn't they do that, right? It's a big part of the movies, right? It's a big part of the comic books. Why wouldn't they do that? They would have to do 2, in my opinion. They would have to do 2. You would have to do 1 from each side. And I could see them trying to cut this down into 1 box and it not working that well, and then them wanting to scrap it because it doesn't really work that well. So what I mean is, right, obviously if you take it from the movie perspective, you have Captain America side and you have Iron Man side, right? So it'd be cool if each box, especially if it was released simultaneously, you could fight against Captain America side, right? Then you could fight against Iron Man side. I think that'd be really cool in general, right? To go through each of those campaigns and really kind of flesh them out, right? Really see how that goes. I'm hesitant they'll do it because I don't see them doing 2 scenario boxes in a row like that. That's a lot to spend on that, I think. I don't see them releasing 2 scenario boxes at the same time either, right? I don't see that happening. So I think it's a lot to ask, and I think the way they would approach it is to scale it down into 1 scenario box, which I think would just be, I don't know, kind of weak. And I think they would recognize that'd be kind of weak too. That you would fight 2 on Captain America side, 2 on Iron Man side, and then 1 somewhere in the middle, right? Like it'd be just a weird thing. And I know they don't really care about campaign story. Still be a weird story, right? You're jumping back and forth between each of them. And so if you were playing as Captain America against Iron Man, like you just couldn't do it, right? It wouldn't make sense. So I don't know. I think it'd be a really cool campaign to do. I think it'd be really cool. I think it'd be fun to see villain versions of the heroes that we've been playing as, right? Especially if they could figure out a way to make them like kind of work like the heroes that we know and love. I think that'd be a pretty neat idea. I think they could do it if they really wanted to. I just don't think they will. I think that they just won't do 2 cycles in a row of scenarios like that. And then to do the hero packs on top of it would be kind of weird. I think you can do it, right? There's enough other Avengers that haven't been mentioned or haven't been made yet that could fall in one of those categories, right? On one of the sides. But I don't think it'll be done, but I think still it'll be really, really cool. So I hope they do it, but I'm not really counting on it, which leads us to our last one. This is my number 5 wish list item. The odds of this happening, 5% tops. If I was being generous to myself, there's a 5% chance. Realistically, there's a 1% chance. There's a very, 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 very slight chance of this happening. But this is the thing I want more than anything else. And let me explain. On this channel a lot, you've heard me kind of get worried about Marvel Champions, right? I'm kind of worried about how long it can really last. Now, I know a lot of people go, well, they have not an infinite, but they have a very large pool of heroes they can keep pulling from. They have so many different IPs, they could do so much. And I agree with all of that. I do. I don't think that will be the downfall of this game. The downfall won't be the amount of content. The downfall would be what new, interesting ways you can play the game, right? Eventually, every game gets stale. And I think that this game, after some time, will get stale. I think we're already starting to see with certain heroes, if some hero comes out and doesn't do something that's like really different out of the box, people get kind of turned off by it, right? They're not as excited about it. And I get it. I'm the same exact way. I want a hero, because we have so many of them now, to really stand out. Why am I going to pull out one of the brand new heroes when, someone from a cycle ago does cooler stuff, right? With Ironheart and with Nova even, we're seeing so many interesting, unique, different ways to play the game. So what does that lead me to? I want them to do something drastically different in this game. And I was thinking about this. What's a realistic thing they could do that I think would be really cool, interesting, and may not take that much effort and time, but really change the way the game plays? And that is, I want a larger campaign that connects everything together. Now, I know this seems like a lot. I get it. But hear me out. I think it'd be cool to have a scenario box where they have multiple campaigns in there where they take older content, and weave campaigns out of it, right? So you pull a villain or two from one box, a villain or two from another box, maybe from the new campaign box, whatever. And the new campaign box is a lot of campaign cards, it's a lot of books that actually creates a story. When you ask anyone who plays Marvel Champions, they will tell you the weakest part of Marvel Champions is the campaign, right? Now, to be fair, its strength now is that you can just pick up and play random games all the time, and it's a lot of fun. But I think it'd be really cool if there was an actual story involved. Heck, maybe you just let people replay the old campaigns, but there's new booklets with more story that has more going on, right? And again, new campaign cards. Maybe you just throw in some new, villains that are slightly tweaked differently. I don't really know. But I think a larger connected campaign would be something really cool. And this is something they've obviously done with Lord of the Rings to a lesser extent, but Arkham Horror, right? Arkham Horror is a fantastic story-driven game. Now, I'm not saying that they should do something to the level of Arkham Horror where you gotta have 8 different branching paths and so many different endings. Nothing that in detail, but Lord of the Rings has a decent enough story. I mean, there's only one story to tell in each scenario. You work your way through it, and it tells you a pretty fun, good story. And I think very rarely some things can change a little bit. It's not a lot, but it's a little bit. And I think that'd be really fun. I think it could spice up the game. And honestly, I don't think it'd be that hard for them to do. You wouldn't have to design a whole new, list of stuff. You can work with everything that's old, and it'd be a way to promote your old material to encourage them to buy scenario boxes, right? I think it's a win overall for Fantasy Flight. The problem is you have to write a campaign out for it. And I'm sure that does take a lot of time and work. And you have to figure out what you're going to sell in this new scenario box besides just, pieces of paper that tell you an interesting story. That's why I think you could do campaign cards. That's why I think you could do some either, I know I just talked about how I don't want any more modular sets, but you could do different interesting modular sets. You could do different interesting upgrades to the villains, or maybe you throw in an extra, modular set into a villain. I don't really know. But I think it'd be a cool thing you could do. I think it'd be different. And I think it would bring a lot of life to, one, the game as a whole, but two, maybe some of the older campaigns we're tired of. And more importantly, you can fix some of the old campaigns, right? We always talk about how the Guardians of the Galaxy box, very few people want to play through most of that box, right? A lot of people skip most of the villains. You could fix a lot of those problems by going back and redoing the campaign. So I know I've been saying like a larger connected campaign. It doesn't have to be all of them connected. It could just be redoing the campaign in each of the boxes up until now. But I still think it'd be more fun if you interweave them. So do I think this has potential of happening? Again, at max a 5% chance. Realistically, a 1% chance. I think it'd be a cool idea, but I don't know if it's something that they would really do. So anyway, that's my wish list as of now. So once again, do me a huge favor. Make sure to hit subscribe. Make sure to scroll down, hit like, and let me know your wish list. And let me know what you thought of mine. Maybe you think mine is just terrible and I need to come up with better ideas. But I just want to try something a little bit different and, just try something that maybe got you thinking about some cool new ideas instead of just like, hey, what's the next hero? What's the next villain, right? What's the next IP? I'm trying to think of different things, maybe a little more outside the box. Let me know your thoughts, and I hope you enjoyed that video. Thanks.